Hi, good morning. This is May Ellery, Pharm.D. It's Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. I decided to do this video blog because I went to my recovery meeting yesterday and I feel much better. Freshly, freshly everything. And what do you call it? So today, the COVID-19 vaccine is, and I don't know where this cough is coming from, but hopefully not COVID-19. I should go get my mask. Oh. Okay, this is better. My hair is just like so out of control. And, there's this new movement about wearing these called headbands. And it started with me wearing a headband for the gym, so because I hate hair in my face. Now I see like everybody, everybody in healthcare kind of doing that, and other people too, because it saves time. It saves time from styling my hair, which, my hair is like this big, and I don't like to wear an afro, and I also don't like to spend 2 hours doing my hair either, and I can't afford a hairstylist, so because I'm kind of broke. So this is it. This is the solution. Okay, so and I didn't put makeup on because because I wanted to get to speaking. So I feel good. President Trump just signed an executive order for to release the vaccine to all Americans, which is exciting. I'm going to be one of those people because I have underlying conditions. It's called diabetes type 2, asthma, and obstructive sleep apnea, and that's why I'm in this project. So I'm at high risk for dying from COVID-19. So they have us isolated here, and there were shutdown orders yesterday across the state. So it stressed people out. And I still got to go to my meeting, which I was grateful, but they said it was the last time I'm going to go to meetings. Like, no, it isn't. So, I have to have that discussion with them downstairs, and they're going to treat it like, a prison ward system, and it's kind of annoying. So I'm going to do this video blog to kind of just prepare myself for their abuse, basically, keeping me isolated here for days on end, weeks on end, months on end. I've been in this quarantine since March 13th of 2020, and and I don't appreciate it anymore. I mean, I appreciate having a place to live and a space to shower and stuff like that. So it's good and bad, and the good, bad, and ugly of change is that you're not going to like everything that comes forward. So today I do like it because I got to sleep, I got to process some of the hurt and hang-ups that I have, and I'm still sober. And I read this Bible this morning. It's an NIV version, and I read the foreword by Pastor John Baker. He went to Alcoholics Anonymous, actually, and he found that they were mocking him and his use of the higher power, which other groups have mocked me as well. And so he wrote a letter to the senior pastor of the church that they have, and got this program, approved. And now that was in 1991. So it's nice to hear the background of that. And I don't know if I did ever hear that before. Maybe I did and I forgot. So it was a nice reminder this morning that things work sometimes, and they may not work at your pace, but they do work. And so the other thing that works is, drug manufacturers like Pfizer, develop, COVID-19 vaccines that cure people. So as a pharmacist, I'm very proud. And obviously, I mean, that's how we practice our pharmacist profession is we rely on drug manufacturers to make medicines so that we can dispense medicines to our patients that the physicians order, after seeing the patient. And so we are kind of the second person in line as far as patient goes to see the doctor gives them a prescription if they're sick or, they get a diagnosis, and then they come to us to dispense the medication and teach them about the medication and sometimes to administer the vaccine, which in this case, pharmacists are registered and licensed to administer vaccines as long as they've been certified through the vaccination program teaching education module. So that's all to say, December 9th, Wednesday, December 9th, 2020, we finally have a COVID-19 vaccine that has been approved by the FDA and through Pfizer and through Operation Warp Speed and through all the work through President Trump and Vice President Pence, Michael Pence. So I'm proud to be an American for that. And really, really proud. December 9th is very symbolic to me because December 9th is my mom and dad's anniversary. That's when they got married. And I got married on December 16th. And to honor my parents, my mom and dad. My mom and dad, went to college, and my mom and dad both served the public. My mom served the public through being a psychologist, through the healthcare system. And PhD psychologist. So PhD, she's a doctorate of psychology, or she's passed away. God rest her soul. And my father was served the public as well as a civil engineer. So civil engineers, I think they build buildings. And so he did a lot of architectural work in the United States for the companies that he worked for, and so that's kind of why I became a pharmacist because I wanted to be a physician, and my parents wanted me to be a physician. At the same time, we know that physicians are under great pressure to be able not to have be able to not have a home life, and what I mean by that is they're on call 24/7, and so. What that means is, their work and their patients come first. So if somebody calls them in the middle of the night, like at 3:00 in the morning, they have to wake up and answer the phone and fix their patients' problems. And I wasn't ready to do that because I just wasn't ready to do that. And so I went into pharmacy and became a pharmacist because I knew that would give me the freedom not to, be on call 24/7. Not that I don't love my patients, but at the same time, I wanted balance as far as family. And my deep roots as a person, a human being, American citizen is family. And I was reminded of that yesterday, that, I couldn't have done anything I've done in my career or my personal life without my family. And so I have a huge gratitude to them, and I actually owe amends to some of them that I've hurt. So that's where I'm at in my step journey and the forgiveness part of it. So I need to forgive for what they've done, and I need to forgive for the things that they've done to me to not support my marriage and my career because. Being a healthcare pharmacist, it takes so much energy that I couldn't balance, a home life and a career. So one of them had to go, and the thing that had to go obviously was not my family. The thing that had to go was my career. So I had to put that on the back burner for, 9 years really, and it's been a painful 9 years, and I want to get back to my career. And so I don't really know how to do that yet. On the other hand, I do know that the system works for medicines, and our COVID-19 vaccine is here. And so people will get vaccinated. President Trump really does I mean, I think he did a great job to support healthcare in general. And he might not have done it, President Barack Obama's way, but he doesn't have to do it his way because every president will have their own way in supporting healthcare and the needs of you know, our patients. And not everybody is a patient. But I have to say that 280,000 deaths due to COVID-19, has to set off an alarm in somebody's head, including our president, to do something differently, which he did. And so I'm proud of that. I'm not even speaking to this thing, I know. So that's that. Thank you, President Trump. And thank you, FDA, for approving that. And thank you for everything else. So it's 10 minutes in. I'm really sad because, I don't want to keep fighting with these people downstairs, like the prison warden system, to ask permission to go to the gym. And it might sound trivial to you, and maybe it is to God, I mean, 280,000 people are dying and you're just going to argue about a gym, yeah, because it's my human right, it's my human right that's being violated by keeping me in this room. And I don't want to stay cooped up in this room by myself every day, for 9 months. And yeah, I could study, open up the books and start studying, but what for? I mean, the minute I start studying, they're going to knock on the door and say, you have to move, So anyway, that's my life. Still have this purity ring on because I still believe in God, and I still believe in marriage and the sanctity of marriage. Marriage is very important to God, and it has to be important to me as well. So I'm wearing this mask to prove my allegiance to healthcare works, and it's a process. So healthcare is a process, and it's strange to me to see everybody, I don't know, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have friends that were surgeons, and I don't know how all this transpired. Only God knows. I guess I have no comment for that because, it's not like there's a biblical verse that says, "Rely not on your own understanding, but in the rely not on your own understanding," because God works in these things. Whether I understand it or not. So I just love this. This is my journal. I think I did my step 10 today. So I did oh no, I haven't done it yet because I was reading. I was listening to President Trump's vaccine. So this is my journal. I'm going to do my step 10 after this. What went well yesterday, what went not so well, and then learn from that. So what else do I have to talk about? Today's a beautiful day. It's sunshine. Yeah, there's a dilemma I have to deal with, and how hard do I want to fight? They gave us a piece of paper saying you're not allowed to go anywhere, basically, unless it's a doctor's appointment or prescriptions or work. And so I had to just figure out what part of that, I can kind of get permission to leave and come back, and I know that there's other people who are leaving and coming back, so I know it's possible. So I just hate having to do that every single day. So that's kind of what I shared yesterday at our meeting, and wasn't really met with a lot of love. So today I woke up really well rested. I felt like there was a healing, like a lifting of something, like a burden off of me. So I woke up singing and worshiping. And I listened to the song called Alive by Celine Dion because I'm grateful I'm alive. I mean, I could be dead out there with diabetes type 2 and COVID-19. So I know the severity of this virus. At the same time, I also know that, exercise is really a key to the healing and prevention of COVID-19 vaccine to take me down, to take my body down. And it's not for everybody. Exercise is not for everyone. But I will say that exercise is so important to to the body's immune system and regulation that people scientists have really not identified it as a key function of our healthcare system, and I think it needs to be. And that's what I've been fighting really for the last, I don't know, 15 years. And I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore. So I hand that over. I mean, I'm not going to hand it over to God because I know it's a good fight. But on the other hand, when I used to have colds and viruses um, in my 30s and 40s, not like the first 2 or 3 days, but probably by day 4 or 5, I would be on the treadmill and the toxins would just be released automatically and I get well. So it's kind of like it's better than taking a cold ease or vitamin C and zinc because exercise just stimulates the blood flow in your body to be able to produce more white blood cells and red blood cells that heal your body immunologically without medicines. And I'm not saying as a pharmacist that exercise can be any vaccine. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is it's a complement to good health. Um, and and I'm basing this on the American Heart Association studies that studied cardiovascular disease and sought that patients that have had heart attacks and strokes have improved and prevented further heart attacks and strokes by 30 minutes of cardiovascular treadmill exercise a day, every day, 5 days a week, to prevent further strokes and heart attacks. And so I know that also applies to infections, infections in your body. And so what do you do in the interim? I mean, my opinion is that you wash. You spray down the machine, the treadmill. You spray down the treadmill, wherever you're going to put your hands if you have to use them as guardrails. And you spray it down before you get on. Then you get on, do your 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever. You do your minutes, and then you spray again for the next person, and you wear the mask in that. You wear the mask while you're on the treadmill. And so Planet Fitness has really taken that lead on that kind of, well, not without the mask, but that was like 2 years ago. Planet Fitness always supported, disinfecting the machines after use. And so all you have to do is add a mask and you can open. So anyway, I'm not a gym owner, so, don't come and attack me later or try to kill me for saying all this stuff because, I'm not a health official. I'm just a nobody, basically. A pastor would say I'm a nobody. I mean, I'm a somebody, but long story short, okay, I don't have any political authority to open your business, but I do have, the medical knowledge, having gone to college for a doctorate degree, to say it works. And so, as an Alcoholics Anonymous says, it works if you work it. So if you work it by wearing a mask and disinfecting in between users, including yourself, that'll prevent the spread of infection. And that's pretty much it. So wear a mask when you're, close to people, and wear a mask when you're next to people, and when you're on, like, when you're speaking on services, I mean, like public things, like this computer myself, this is just for me. It's not a public computer, so I don't have to spray it down because I'm the only one using it. The table, same thing. But if it was a public table, like I sat down over there, like these guys do outside, it has to be sprayed every time, and they don't spray it. And so, that's just an example. And the treadmill is also a public thing. And so when you go up to the pharmacy, they should be spraying, and they have plexiglass and stuff like that. And physicians, same thing, offices, And so how do you spread a virus the same way you spread an infection, the same way you spread a cold, by breathing droplets, coughing droplets on them, or, through lacrimal secretions through your eyes, or could be airborne, coughing propellants out, and what else? And, basically, I mean, what we are taught that children are petri dishes for those kind of things. And that's why children always get sick when they're in public schools. Not to say that private schools are not. What I mean by that is they are in large crowds, and so when you put children in large crowds like schools, they're going to get sick. And so don't bring them around the elderly because they'll get sick. And, that's like common sense. Because my parents always got sick when my sister-in-laws brought their kids over, and they're constantly coughing and yucky. And I mean, that's how my dad got sick and died. So anyway, long story short, I'm not blaming whatever, but basically, kids are petri dishes, and if they're coughing, you better ask them to wear a mask and cover their mouth and throat. Really, I mean, that's like ongoing even after the COVID-19 vaccine. If a child is walking around coughing, you better ask them to wear a mask so they don't get our elderly sick and kill them, because that's what killed my dad. So when I say killing, because I mean, this is not criminal stuff. So it's not like you're going to go put that 5-year-old in jail because, he killed my dad with a virus that was a cold, but you could, but you're not going to, because that's not how our criminal system works. But, intentional harm is intentional harm. And long story short, that's my 5 minutes on that. So that's it. Let's change subjects. Cashmere, cinnamon. It smells so good. So anyway, I call kids petri dishes, and some might. I mean, I never called to the mother's faces, but I do now, because in my mind, they've always been petri dishes. And so if they say, "Oh, I want you to visit, my little kid or my little grandkid or whatever," I'm like, I have to say no, thank you, because I'm diabetic, and they are petri dishes. And even if they cough on me or they even touch me, I could get sick just like that. And I'll end up dead on the bed, and they'll end up, just running around, because, yeah, kids are petri dishes, but they're also immunologically stronger than a diabetic like myself, because diabetes, kind of wipes out your immune system. And so that's the science behind a diabetic dying from COVID-19 or any not vaccine, but any infection. So that's that. I wanted to become an infectious disease pharmacist, and one of the teachers prevented me from doing that. Kind of angry, but it is what it is. It's like when God calls you to something, and you got so many people coming at you against you because either they don't like you or they find a reason, to oppose you. Some people quit. Some people feel more motivated to fight that person that opposes them, and some people just relent and just retreat and say, if you're going to be that nasty about it, I'll become a singer, instead of infectious disease pharmacist. So not that I became a singer, but you know what I mean. That's the idea. So when you're doing God's work, in my opinion, when you're doing God's work, there will be millions of people opposing you. And I say that because God calls you to these great things that no one else can do, and no one really else has the power to do, nor the influence to do, or the knowledge, or the testing and training, because God has anointed you with that trusting and training to do the work that He's calling you to do. And so, I say, my opinion right now, after living 54 years and fighting for 30 years and ending up with diabetes type 2, is some fights are not worth it, and some fights are. And my brother, older brother, used to say, you got to pick your battles, and yeah, you got to pick your battles. So so not every fight is a fight, and not every now this, what I have to fight them downstairs. That's a fight. That's a fight that is worth it to me because it's my life. It's my livelihood. If I don't exercise every day, I'm going to end up on the dialysis machine dead. And so what is the compromise? The compromise is, if they say you can't go, then I pack my bags, sign myself out of this stupid process, and leave, and just sleep in my car, and God will pick me up because He picks me up every time. So anyway, that's that. So fight some battles, and don't fight others. I'm not going to stick myself in a what do you call it, military base, and let people shoot me down like a human being, dead, um, for a COVID-19 vaccine, because I trust the pharmacist and I trust my business, which is pharmacists and pharmacies and CVS and Walgreens and all the Rite Aids, and because I trust them to give me my vaccine because I'm a high risk, vulnerable person who has diabetes type 2. So I know, and I trust them that once they get their vaccine in from McKesson Cardinal or AmerisourceBergen, whatever wholesaler they use, I'm going to be first in line to get the vaccine. So I'm not worried about that. So I wish I could have that same kind of vote of confidence over there at that desk. And I can't convince them. I tried. It's doctor's orders for me to exercise. Don't believe it. I tried. I tried even lying, like I'm going to the doctor's appointment or I'm working. And they let me go, but it's like I don't feel good about lying to get to the gym. So anyway, my final straw is going to be today, and if they fight me again, I just have to be ready to pack my things. And there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff. It's going to be a heartache for me to be able to have to pack my car again and leave. But I need to do that. So anyway, that's my 5-minute gist. Am I ever going to go back to pharmacy? It depends on you. It depends on you, the employer, and open up a job that I can do, and I can work shortened hours, like 6 hours. Open up a job with 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, and yeah, I'll go back to work. If you can't open something like that for me, then probably not going to go back to work. So that's that. I guess I could just finish this off with, I'm on stage 3, book 3, participant guide 3, getting right with God and others, getting right with God, yourself, and others. So I'm getting right with God because I'm saying I have diabetes and I really need to slow down. And these people won't let me slow down. And so, how do I do that without, becoming a raging yeller? Okay, so I pray the serenity prayer. There's a prayer, serenity prayer. It's on page 12. That's what I'm going to read. All right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, them, ruining my life by not allowing me to go to the gym every day. The courage to change the things I can, to pack my things and go and leave and never come back. And the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship, my hardship, which is moving this stuff by myself, as a pathway to peace, my pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did the sinful world, as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you, God, will make all things right if I surrender to your will, God, to not fight people, for God's will, because it increases my cortisol levels and I end up on stage 3 dialysis. So I need to just let it go and let God, trusting that you, God, will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. So what else can I do here? Principle 6B prayer. Dear God, thank you for your love, for your freely given grace. Help me model your ways when I make my amends to those I have hurt and offer my forgiveness to those who have injured me. Now, these people are injuring me by not allowing me to go to the gym every day. And, I need to deal with that. And I'm not sure how to deal with it. So, God, give me the ways to deal with that. Equip me with the ways to deal with that and win and win. Not allow them to injure me anymore by preventing me from going to the gym. And end this fight, Lord. End this fight with me and them. And end this fight with them preventing me from going to the gym and me. And I won't back down on that because this has been kind of a fight ever since I got married in 2016. And I don't know what it is. I mean, even my husband was jealous of me going to the gym. And so I find it really offensive at this point to have to fight for that for 5 years. So help me decide, set aside my selfishness and speak the truth in love. I pray that I would focus only on my part, my responsibility in the issue. I know that I can forgive others because you forgave me. Thank you for loving me. In Jesus' name I pray. Some things do require a good cry, and this is not one of them because my recovery has involved, a lot of things, a lot of sins of other people's that I've had to call them out on. And it hurts. It hurts me to have to call people on their stupidity constantly, including preventing me from going to the gym, So the path of least resistance used to be always my way. And God's kind of training me not to take the path of least resistance anymore, confront these assholes, and do it in such a way that you win, just like President Trump won with Operation Warp Speed and getting the vaccine before, the end of the year, before his term is up. And, President Trump has been a kind of President Trump has been a president to me as American citizen that I think a lot of people in the United States should be, admiring in many ways. And I'm not a politician, and I don't really, aspire to be a politician. I do aspire to return to healthcare some way. At the same time, he's gotten things accomplished that I know that it was God working through our president. And so I'm grateful, I guess. I'm grateful for that because, some people that are in charge, really, really take the sword, for our people. And not just people who are hurting, but people who actually are convicted of God's will in their lives and others' lives. And, for me to be able to learn that through sobriety has been a gift. And so today still is December 9th, 2020, and it's 1 p.m., 1:12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, I've started this recovery journey from journaling, from crying, a lot of tears, to journaling, to writing, to blogging, to now video blogging. And these steps of faith that I've taken are pretty amazing. And I guess I'm going to do like 5 minutes of meditation because, I want to stay silent in some of this stuff that God has done. And, one of those things is Project Room Key. And, I don't know who really put together this Project Room Key. I read some things and then I read other things. And long story short, I know it's our political officials that put this together. But it came from a grassroots effort. So I don't know where that grassroots effort is. What I do know is somebody really did stand up for people, that have suffered homelessness. And and it allows me to kind of be able to speak up. So here I am speaking up, and so so here's the 5 minutes. Okay, so thank you for letting me share. I'm going to take this 5 minutes meditation to kind of absorb what I've said, learn, and do better. Amen. And wanted to interrupt my meditation just to say I'm sorry if this offends anyone, and this is only one person's opinion, myself's opinion, and so um, it's based on my clinical experience with my family and my patients, and so things could be different in your life, in your career, in your experience with infections and stuff like that. So don't. This is not like written in golden stone or anything like that, because that's the power of medicine, to be able to heal people. Okay, so thank you for that. Yeah, check with your doctor, your pharmacist, or your nurse for further information if it requires answering questions that are, medical and that are medical in topic, and for your politicians if they're political in topic, and clergy if they're theology in topic. Okay. So I thank you again. This was a lot about COVID-19, which I didn't expect to be talking about. Um, but I did. So I guess the final thing about Project Roomkey is, you know, I had a vision for how you could handle the homeless, and you know, I'm not in the power or authority to be able to, what do you call it, write down a plan about it, but somebody did, and so they developed it, you know. And let's just say our governor developed it, and you know, the supervisors also fought for it, and it got approved. And so, you know, I see Project Roomkey as something that's going to blossom and something that's going to be the way we handle our homeless. You know, end of story. Period. Maybe not for 100 years, but certainly for many decades to start now, and for many decades. This is the way homeless people need to be structured right back into integrated throughout our society as positive members of our what do you call it, society, positive members of our society. And I never pictured myself to, you know, to be included. At the same time, you know, it was a recommendation from my therapist, and so, you know, I fit the qualifications, and here I am. So I hope actually that I can get a job that way. Not in Project Roomkey, but, you know, doing what I enjoy best, which is helping people get healthy. And so I think Project Roomkey should expand, and I also think it's a great system to be able to build up the healthcare system in such a way that anyone can walk in and be able to be served for the healthcare needs that they need. And in particular, this Project Roomkey, I think, is I hope and I pray that it is the way you handle, you know, homeless people across the United States. Now, it's only here, I think, in our state, so I don't think it's available anywhere else. But it's not to say that it can't be, you know. But my vision that God gave me is that this is the way you're going to handle a project. I mean, this is Project Roomkey is the way you're going to handle homeless people across the United States, particularly in the state, and you're going to be able to, you know, fold in some of these things like housing, and not just affordable housing, but housing in general, like housing as far as permanent housing, you know, permanent housing that every American citizen is guaranteed by coming to America. I mean, what is the reason we came to America? We didn't come to America to sleep in our cars, you know. We didn't come to America to, you know, to be lazy bums, and we didn't come to America to be mean or fight or anything like that. I mean, I didn't come to America for that, and I know my parents didn't. So my parents brought us over on the boat, I'll say. We didn't come boat, but we came by airplane, I'm sure. But basically, they brought us here because they wanted to work, and they wanted to raise a family, and buy us a house so we could live in it. So I see Project Roomkey as kind of the springboard, and part of the work that needs to be done for all homeless people to be able to be integrated into back into the employment sector of our I mean, homeless people are unemployed, obviously. Most of them are unemployed. I'm unemployed. So many homeless people are unemployed. It's why they're homeless. So they need to be integrated back into the workforce, American workforce, not overseas workforce. And we're not interested in that. We're interested in American workforce that, and employers need to change their attitudes towards us homeless people because there's a huge prejudice against us. As soon as I say homeless, they feel all weird. They start acting all weird and stuff. And it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde right in front of you, as soon as you say that. So that needs to change. And so I see Project Room Key as a kind of a way to be able to build us back into an integrated workforce. I also see it as a way to get us housed permanently. And I also see it a way as to improve our health. And some of us have mental health issues because we're homeless, not because we have, mental disease. It's because we're homeless and we're stressed out. Where is our next day? How is our next dollar going to come, and how are we going to feed ourselves? Every day we have that issue, because they threaten us every day. If you don't do this, we're going to kick you out. If you don't do this, we're going to, so it's like a continuous, ridiculous, unethical, immoral treatment of us homeless people. And these homeless providers have no empathy. They have no professionalism about them. All they care about is their money. And so I see Project Room Key as kind of standing up for us homeless, to say this is how the homeless are going to be handled. They're going to be able to integrate through, number one, the workforce, number two, housing and permanent housing, just like any other American citizen, and healthcare. They're going to have to integrate themselves into the healthcare system as far as the services they need, which is, get your blood pressure checked, get your weight checked, go see a dietitian. If you're having strokes, you need to go see a stroke specialist, and they need to put you on a diet and monitor your sodiums and your blood pressures. And this healthcare system is increasingly broken here. And that could be this could be a whole discussion just on the poor healthcare system in the state of California. It is just horrible. All the employers here, I'd say, I'm from Michigan, so I'm not used to this broken healthcare system that's absent, basically. So they have a broken healthcare system that's just horrendous to deal with. And it took me 2 years really to kind of get the medical services that I was used to in Detroit here in California. So it's a huge broken healthcare system here, as far as, let's say, south of Fresno. Okay, so south of Fresno all the way to San Diego, it's a broken healthcare system. I don't know what it is, Fresno to San Francisco. I have never lived there, so I have no idea. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is south of Fresno to San Diego, it's a broken healthcare system. And there are not enough hospitals, not enough doctors, and not enough medical schools to be able to build the healthcare system up. And so if you build some medical schools where physicians can actually train as doctors here and not bring them over from, the Caribbean or wherever you bring them from, they can be trained in the United States and be able to deal with the diseases that these people have, including myself. Like simple disease, like hypertension. How do we treat hypertension? I mean, it's very simple, but you need the patient to come in, and they can't come in because, there are no hospitals, there's no clinics, and there's no physicians. And so, and homeless person not going to get on the subway and say, oh, I got to go see a doctor. They're not even going to be thinking about that, because first you haven't given them a place to shower or sleep, and or a meal. And so if you can give them those three things, then you can integrate them into the healthcare system, and see their doctors regularly every 6 months, get their blood pressure checked daily, by teaching them how to use a blood pressure monitor. And anyway, that's what pharmacists do actually in the healthcare system. So the expansion of pharmacist services really needs to go to, the Board of Pharmacy here in the state of California. And somebody's got to pick up that gavel. And, I'm not equipped right now to do that because of many reasons. So I see Project Room Key as a way of how you're going to handle homeless people, period. So it's not just mental health. Absolutely not. That's such a misnomer and a complete lie. The number one need for a homeless person is a food, a shower, and healthcare. Food, shower, and healthcare. Now, the shower comes with the bed to sleep in. So the food, the bed to sleep in, shower, and healthcare. Healthcare, I mean blood pressure checked. What else? Blood pressure, blood sugar checked, height and weight, and everything else that goes beyond that. So a general practitioner or an internal medicine physician should really be running these programs of Project Roomkey eventually as you integrate and build up the systems. And so I'd love to see, as a healthcare practitioner who's um, homeless and diabetic, that were housed permanently. So you build in healthcare, you build in housing, you also build in um, healthcare, housing, and employment services. So, and the Project Roomkey administrators will be able to prioritize those needs, because that's the work they're doing. They're the experts. We as participants are not the experts. We're called clients, and I'd like to say we're the patients, really, because Project Roomkey really should be an extension of healthcare system somehow. Once they get out of the hospital, they need to be, if they're homeless, they need to be pushed into the Project Roomkey process immediately. Like the day they walk out of that hospital, they need to come here and sign up for Project Roomkey, and requires funding. And our governor has already secured funding, so funding is not a deterrent, because it's already there. People are just not using it because they don't have the administrators to be able to run the programs. And I'm not going to comment about anybody else right now. This is me as a participant. Being diabetic, I'm very fortunate to have experienced this. At the same time, I'm very disappointed, at the system not working at all for us at all. And so I get to go to my old doctor back in Santa Clarita, who gets it, and who delivers healthcare really well, and they don't have those kind of services here, unfortunately. So I don't know what to say about that. You guys have to kind of, just like you're doing with housing and landlords and owners, and shoot, you should be doing it with President Trump before he leaves office. I would say he's a real estate mogul. I mean, he knows how to do rental properties and housing. I don't know why you're not using him or even asking for his help. I'd bring him here if I was the governor, but I'm not. So those are ideas. Project Roomkey needs to expand. Project Roomkey needs to remain in place. And yeah, it was a springboard from COVID-19, but now, like, once COVID-19 and the vaccines are out and all that, and everybody's treated, Project Roomkey needs to expand, and expand to all homeless people. All homeless people need to go through Project Roomkey, and it needs to stand, it needs to stand the ground as far as our rights, our human rights to be housed, our human rights to be able to sleep, and our human rights to be able to work if we're able to work. And so the people who are running Project Roomkey need to ask us the questions. Are you this, and do all that work to evaluate if we're ready to work or not. And so I talked to my case manager yesterday. She said, don't worry about working right now, because you're going to be moved, and so that's your focus right now, and don't worry about anything else. So that's I hope that Project Roomkey grows, and I hope it grows across the state of California, and I hope it becomes the way we deal with unemployed homeless people, because every single person that's not married, every single person will end up homeless if they lose their job. That's how I became homeless. So these employers today, they're very prejudiced against single people, very prejudiced. And when they find out you're not married, it's like, oh, you can find another job. So they let us go instead of the family or the married person. And that's strict, even though I'm more productive and more really of an asset to the company than a married person would be. So that's the prejudice that hopefully Project Roomkey will address through employment laws. I hope that will better support us being employed. And I'm not going to fight that with employers, because I've had it up to here, and I'm not going to I've had it up to here. I'm not going to have a stroke and a heart attack and die, on my cross just to fight one employer. No, thank you. That's not the cross I'm ready to bear ever in my whole life. So my parents really weren't successful in fighting employers when they were getting sick, and neither am I. So I don't have that in my life. I don't have that in my gene pool to be able to pull from. Um, so that's that. Thank you for letting me share. I'll see you later. Next time I share. Wish me luck. Thanks. Bye. Oh, one last thing. Remember to get your COVID-19 vaccine, everybody. But not everybody, I say, only the people who are highly vulnerable. So anybody with asthma, anybody over 65 years old, anybody with diabetes type 2, and other underlying conditions like hypertension and strokes and heart attacks. And so those people, which would include myself. So make sure you get your COVID-19 vaccine when it comes out. They're saying it should be available this Friday. So ask your pharmacist. Ask your pharmacist at the Target CVSs that you go to, or Rite Aids, or Walgreens, and they should know when it's coming. So get your COVID-19 vaccine and get well.